Yeah, you can start.
Yeah. Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Leslie.
Yeah. So this is Dr. Krishna Kumar. He's a senior consultant practicing for the last 20 years. Sir is here with us to say to the public why a person should take a BLS training and choose to be a
Right.
heart saver or a life saver. What are the advantages for the victim? What are the favorable things which is expected for one who's learning also?
So let me start by dispelling the myths because we like to say tamasoma jyotirgamaya. From the darkness, we lead to the light. So let me tell you about the darkness, about what so many people are bad mouthing about modern medicine. They are giving it so many. For example, we had some quacks in Kerala. I'm practicing in the state of Kerala. We had large number of quacks, and they were saying that when you want to die, when you are old, when you are having a critical illness, when you are dying, why you are hooked up to the anesthesia machines with the tubes all around you, your family member is nowhere nearby, and all that stuff. Okay, so the answer to that is very clear. People think that the intensive care unit. So I'm not talking about the BLS right now. I'm talking about ICUs. The ICUs, the intensive care unit, suppose 10 patients or 15 patients are hooked up onto the machines. As a doctor, we know that majority of the patients cannot be saved. All right. So let's assume that 20 patients are going into the ICU, of which 19 people may die. It's a hypothetical scenario, right? You being an anesthetist, you know, because it is not healthy people that we are putting into the ICU. It is really, really sick people on the verge of death. Their hearts and lungs are being controlled by the machines. We are putting them inside. And of the 20 people, let us imagine that one person survives. All right. So that's a hypothetical scenario. Now, you reverse the whole thing. 20 people are there. You don't put any of them into the ICU. So what will happen? All 20 of them will die. Right? So when you put 20 people into the ICU, one person will survive and 19 people will die. You cannot save those 19 people, but that one person will survive. And if you don't do that, all 20 of these people will die. So it is to save that one person that we are putting them in the ICU, and that is the same thing with the BTLS and the CPR. That's the first point. So if you are giving CPR to 10 patients or 20 patients or 30 patients, now as a doctor, I have seen the CPR being given by the anesthetist only. In a real life situation, when I'm doing exercise or in where there is, I have not seen a drowning. I have not seen a death in the road traffic accident. The only the heart stoppage I have seen is inside the theater, and I have been lucky that 90% of the time, maybe 95, 99% of the time, our anesthetists like your colleagues are able to restart a heart. And nobody even knows that this has happened. The patient simply walks out of the theater. Nobody knows that he was clinically dead for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So that is the beauty of modern medicine. That is, unless you tell the patient, unless you tell the bystanders, many people are actually dying inside the theater. They're clinically dead for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. You being an anesthetist should be able to, I'm right. I'm
Yes,
correct.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Lakshmi, yeah.
Definitely, definitely,
See,
sir.
yeah, the patients are dead for 2 minutes or 3 minutes and they walk out as if nothing has happened. Most of the times the case goes on. Sometimes the case is cancelled and they're none the wiser. Only we tell them. So the actual real life CPR that we are talking about, the BLS course that we are talking about, Lakshmi, you and me, we are. This is for the public, right?
Yeah.
And the public should understand that if you give this BLS, the CPR, to maybe 20 patients or 30 patients or 50 patients, maybe one of them will survive. The rest, 29 or 30 patients are going to die. But if you don't learn it, if you don't give it, all of them will die.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing.
Yes.
Second, people have to understand the concept of brain death. So, what is the individual? For example, you are there, Dr. Lakshmi, you are an anesthetist, you are sitting there with your white coat and your stethoscope. Now, me being an orthopedician, I don't know how that machine works. I don't know where to put the stethoscope because it's been so long since I've used it. Eh? Now, you are sitting there. Suppose I take away that stethoscope, you will still be Dr. Lakshmi, right? Suppose I cut away your right hand, you will still be Dr. Lakshmi. Suppose I cut away both your hands and both your legs are somehow amputated in an accident. Who will you be? Who will
Again,
you be?
Dr. Lakshmi.
Again, Dr. Lakshmi. But suppose I damage your brain. Dr. Lakshmi is no longer in the building. So who are we? Dr. Krishnamar here, Dr. Lakshmi there. It is the brain. And people should understand that the concept of brain death is totally different from the concept of the death that the layman has. So when a doctor says that the patient is dead, the doctor is talking about brain death. And when a layman is saying that the patient is dead, they're saying that the person is lying there lifeless. The heart may be beating. If a person knows how to take the pulse, they know how to look for the respiration. They will say, okay, the pulse is there, the respiration is there.
One
Then
is
they will say that the
the
patient is.
difference between the patient just not responding and the patient who has lost the perception of the world. So the whole
Yeah,
perception from the patient's perspective
yeah,
is lost. Yeah.
yeah. I think Dr. Lakshmi, for the people who are listening, you please tell them what is the difference between just cardiac death and what do you say, asystole and brain death. It's your turn now to talk.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So, when the heart is beating every time during systole, the brain is supplied with oxygenated blood. And when the heart stops for any reason, due to cardiac reason, a primary cardiac reason, or a primarily pulmonary reason, or a reason from the respiratory system, which secondarily lead to decreased oxygenation and also decreased blood flow to the coronary perfusion. So again, heart stops, which is more common in children and pediatric age group. So the primary pulmonary causes where there is more cause of infections and respiratory RS is more common. So anyway, when the heart stops, the blood going to the brain is nil. So when that lasts for more than 3 minutes, so what happens is the brain damage which happens is irreversible. So if it's more than 3 minutes of cardiac arrest, then the patient goes into irreversible brain damage because the neurons cannot be revived. Once it is dead, then there is no new cell formation in the brain. Whatever number of neurons we have is fixed. So the brain goes into permanent cell damage. So after which, what happens is the patient, even if we make them survive and the patient comes back, the heart starts beating and everything is systems are getting back to form. Even otherwise, after the patient will not recover from the brain damage. The patient becomes a permanent kind of a, what to say in layman term,
Vegetative state.
yeah, vegetative state.
Vegetative state.
Yeah, so where the nervous system will not be the central brain, the central nervous system goes into permanent damage, and the patient will be having the systemic circulation, everything, but patient will not be aware of the surroundings and he will not be responding. So it is difficult to go through such a scenario, but still. There are few cases this happens after CPR where even though the patient survives, the brain goes into permanent damage. So
All
you,
right.
one more question from my side is
Got it.
you being an athlete
Yeah.
and a physically very fit person,
Right.
you had been
Right.
riding cycle every day more than 70 to maybe 150 kilometer in a day even, and you're a regular marathoner. So you have attended multiple marathons of 10 to 20 kilometer. So
Yeah.
how do you advise patients where we recently come across sudden cardiac arrest, sudden collapse in gym, and also young individuals starting from the age of 18 or less, and also up to 30 years, 20 years, victims who are facing sudden cardiac deaths and cardiac events. How
Yeah.
to
Lakshmi,
prevent it? There are two, three things you need to throw lights on, like what is the reasons, and next is how to prevent it, and how to overcome.
right. So, Lakshmi, before answering that question, I'd like to go back to the original thing that we were discussing about brain death. May I just see, you being an anesthetist, your brain is working at a higher level than mine. I am an orthopedician. So, may I rephrase what you said
Yeah,
for the general public?
yeah,
So, this
definitely.
is what Lakshmi has said is that suppose you find your friend lying down on the floor and the pulse is stopping. and finally the pulse stops, you still have 3 minutes where you can do a CPR and still get him back. Am I right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So it is this 3 minutes. It is this 3 minutes that we are talking about. So within 3 minutes, if you can successfully revive that person using CPR, you will get your friend back.
Yeah,
And if you don't, and that is the most important thing about this.
that
This
is the
3 minutes,
golden hour
yeah,
for survival for the
yeah,
patient.
it is
Mm.
the critical time. The
Mm.
critical time. So these 3 minutes, you cannot wait for a person with a anesthesia degree and experience like Dr. Lakshmi to come to the scene. Dr. Lakshmi will be about 20 to 30 kilometers away practicing anesthesia in an operating theater, and you cannot miss. So this has to be taught even to the smallest child.
Yeah, even
And I
we can't
think
wait for an ambulance or a
you
technician or
cannot wait.
like a lifesaver in an
Yeah.
ambulance before they arrive. Maybe a security person may be the first one who's witnessing this, or
That is
maybe
correct.
in a shopping complex or in a restaurant or a mall on the roadside where people gather. So this is the bus stand everywhere, and airports,
Yeah.
railway stations.
Right. So what Dr. Lakshmi is saying is that you cannot wait for a qualified person to arrive, and therefore, as far as CPR is concerned, everyone should be qualified.
Yeah, yeah,
It is not MBBS, it is not BSc, it is not BA, it is not pre-degree. At the level of even 10th standard, you should be qualified to do a CPR. Am I
yeah.
right, Dr. Lakshmi?
Yeah, whoever can
So,
understand a basic knowledge of how to do it, if they're able to repeat it, even a
yeah,
hands-on CPR they can do, only with hands.
yeah, right.
Mm.
So that is what we are doing. Now, to the question that Dr. Lakshmi elaborately asked about, myself, I have been a fitness enthusiast for more than 10, 15 years now. I was a regular cyclist, but I started doing endurance cycling for only 10 years now. So we do this 100 to 200 kilometer rides, which are our events. And I do a daily ride of around between 20 to 30 kilometers, especially hilly terrain for this thing. My running is about 2 to 3 times a week. I do only 5 kilometers because I don't want to. I want to preserve my health. I don't want to risk injuries at this age, because more than 5 kilometers to 10 kilometers, there is a very good chance that you will go for muscle injuries, tendon injuries, knee overload, and all those things. So I personally, right now, I'm 51 years of age, and therefore I don't want to push my body beyond a certain limit, which is what Dr. Lakshmi was saying. So as far as I am concerned, the limit depends upon what you have trained for.
Yeah,
If you're a person like me who has discovered cycling only 10 years ago, that means that I discovered it when I was around the age of 40 years old. And that is the time when I discovered. Till 30 years, I didn't even know what long distance cycling was. Till 2 years ago, I did not know what running was. I did not know how the techniques for doing the long distance running. And I have only learned it for the past 1 or 2 years. So I should know that I know only that much. On the other hand, suppose you are a marathoner in your young age and you are maintaining your health for doing a small running or a small cycling and all that stuff, then you are allowed to do a little more.
yeah,
So basically, Hindi say apna aukat mat bhulna. In Hindi say that, you see, don't forget who you are and what you are. If you are an athlete, you train like an athlete, you perform like an athlete. If you are a layman, if you are an amateur, you perform like an amateur, don't risk it. Because what are we training for, Dr. Lakshmi? When you are doing gym, now you yourself, I think you will be doing some amount of exercise. What is your favorite exercise? Is it gym or Zumba or yoga? What do you do?
yoga. So that is a very
Yoga.
comfortable, yeah. And I know my
Yeah,
limits and I know how much I can go, where I
yeah.
should stop. Everything is under my control.
Yes,
Mm.
that is it. That is it. Now, what Dr. Lakshmi said, that is the real gist of the thing. I know what I am. I know what I can do. I know what I cannot do. That is the most important thing. Now, Dr. Lakshmi is an amateur yoga practitioner. You are not going for competitions, right?
No.
Suppose you go for competition, what will happen? You will
Yeah, I will
sprain an
push
ankle
myself. I
or
will
injure
grow
it.
myself. I will stretch myself. I will go beyond my limits. Then,
Yeah.
mm,
So, what Dr. Lakshmi has said, please, if you are watching a video, you rewind the 10 seconds and listen to what she said. What she said is, I know what I am, I know what I can do, I know what I cannot do, and I know that if I go cross that limit, I will injure myself. Am I right, Dr. Lakshmi?
yeah,
So
definitely.
that is the most important thing that we should do. What
Mm.
are we fighting against? What is the competition for? What are we competing against? We are competing against old age. We are competing against lifestyle diseases. And most importantly, we are competing against sarcopenia. That is the most important thing. Sarcopenia. Now, the sarcopenia is the visible sarcopenia of your muscle mass and the invisible sarcopenia of what is happening to your heart also. So, for a person who is doing regular exercise, you have to remember that there are two types of exercises, that is the endurance and the power. The endurance exercises are really for your heart, very little for your muscle. And then you've got the power exercises, which is for your back and shoulders and all those things. Now, you being an anesthetist, you may not have that much of a problem. But myself, as an orthopedician, we handle very heavy equipment. Now, you have seen the nail is not going in, you bring a mallet. The nail is still not going, you bring a bigger mallet. So myself being an orthopedician, I think that there are very few problems in life that cannot be solved by a mallet. If you've got a very big problem, you bring a very big mallet, and that will solve your problem. So that is why we are going. So when you are using these heavy things, there is a very good chance that you will injure your back. Now, myself, I am doing an arthroscopy. So when we are putting the screws, especially on the left side of the knee, I'm using my left hand and I'm doing a twisting motion with my body. And that very commonly I get a back sprain. So if I am not doing exercise for maybe 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, there is a very good chance that I will sprain my back and I will injure it. That is what happens. So what is happening here is we all have to know our limits, and we all need to know what is the line that if crossed, we will injure ourselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Not only
So I think we'll
maybe kind of stretching overnight, not only for 1 day
Yeah.
or 2 day or a week, maybe for months, working overtime and not listening to the body. Body calls for rest and it needs to rest and rejuvenate, but not giving that sufficient time. And also like external stress and which is getting built up.
Yeah. So, Dr. Lakshmi, let's just come back to the original question about BLS and the CPR. So, what are the things that we plan to discuss today for the general public?
Why at all a patient or a person or any person needs a CPR, that we have already discussed. The golden hour, the first 3 minutes of them becoming unconscious or going into complete cardiac arrest. So we have a 3 minutes, as you told, to revive and get back the patient fully into normal life like before. So, and other thing is, why should anyone like you and me and another one on the public, why they should know CPR?
Right.
It may be their own relative, maybe their friend, a person next to them, or a completely unknown person. What do you think, sir, on this?
See, the problem with the Indian education system is that, like we said, we are still following the vestiges of British society. Now, if you go to the Western countries, the 10th standard students are being taught CPR. But if you come to medical college, that syllabus, it is not there till your house surgeons. So what a boy or a girl in the American education system, what they are learning at 12 to 15 years, we are learning when we are 18 or 21 years. So that is definitely something that shows that we are lagging far behind in not only in the education, but our concept of the neediness of the things, how important the CPR is.
Yeah,
So,
it is one major
right now,
crisis management, how to go through critical events. So they are getting a lot of training in that in
that's
our
correct.
Western countries.
Yeah. So the problem is people don't recognize that CPR is not something for doctors. Doctors are not going to do CPR inside your hospital. They are not going to give the simple cardiac. They are going to intubate. They are going to ventilate. And for the heart, they are going to give cardioversion. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you may give CPR just for the interim period while these things are getting ready. But as an anesthetist, Dr. Lakshmi, I think instead of doing the ventilation and doing the cardiac massage, you will directly be putting an endotracheal tube and you will be giving the cardioversion. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Right. So who does the CPR? We have just now the public knows that Dr. Lakshmi, the anesthetist, is not going to do the CPR which we are talking about. Even though she is highly qualified, she is going to teach the CPR. She expects you to do the CPR. She herself is not going to do the CPR. So who is going to do the CPR, Dr. Lakshmi?
Anyone who witnessed
the layman.
Anyone who is going to witness it.
Yeah. So that is where we should not have a racism in relation to education. Your education, your age, your gender, and of course, caste, religion, nothing is going to matter when a person is lying dead in front of you, when his heart has stopped. Whether you are a Hindu or a Muslim, whether you are a doctor or an engineer, whether you are a college student or a school student, it is up to you. Only you can save that patient. And you can save that patient only if you know the CPR.
Yeah.
So CPR is not for the doctors, basically. CPR is basically for laymen.
Yeah.
And the problem here is that even doctors are learning CPR only very late.
Yeah.
So CPR needs to be propagated.
Mm.
It
And
is,
maybe
it
it may
is,
not be getting used as we think. It may be like 1 in a lakh, 1 in a million, maybe. We won't
that
know
is
when
correct.
we will come across such a situation.
That is correct. It is not like training for a game where that you, okay, I'm going to run 10 kilometers tomorrow, so I'm going to run 10 kilometers every day. I've got about 1 month to train. So you cannot train for a CPR on a real person. You have to train it on dummies. And your technique has to be perfect that one day when you get a real person, it should become a reflex. You should not think, okay, I'm going to do this much number of massage, I'm going to do this number of ventilation. No, it should be reflex. It should be muscle memory.
Yeah. Getting trained like a robo, like when it happens, like you're thinking your body should start acting, as you told,
Yeah,
memory of the muscle,
yeah.
and you
It's
respond
a memory of the
immediately.
muscle. Right. So what myself and Dr. Lakshmi, for those who are listening, for the viewers, what you have to understand is if you don't know CPR, there is no excuse.
Yeah.
If you are old enough, if you are literate enough to listen to the video so far and you still don't know CPR, then that is a big failure on your side. And one day your father, your mother, your friend, your brother may die because you don't know CPR.
Yeah. So well said, sir. Thank you so much for creating
Thank you,
such a
thank
big
you, Dr. Lakshmi,
impactful.
for
It was an
elevating
impactful
yeah
discussion.
for
We will catch up
for
soon, sir.
elevating
Yeah, we'll
for
catch up soon
elevating an
on more
orthopedician.
topics.
Yes, thank you so much, and looking forward to the next talk. So for everybody who is listening, I think we'll meet again. So please don't forget to subscribe. You got a
Yeah.
subscription, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes, and
Yeah.
of course your comments also. Have you had a incident where somebody of yours had drowned or had to get an electric shock or is lying still, and you wanted to know the CPR? Is the CPR there in your school syllabus? If it is not there in your school syllabus, you contact your schools, get the trained anesthetist to demonstrate the CPR. Every medical college has got the dummies for training. You just tell them either you can go to the hospital and they will teach you, or they will bring the dummies and they will teach you. I think Dr. Lakshmi is doing a course on BLS, right?
Yes, sir. And we are planning to
So that's
do
a
for government school children totally free of cost. We take all the charges and we bear the charges, and we do it free of cost for all the government schools we are aiming.
so I think